Hey guys, I'm John Moyer.
Hi, and I'm Scott Kirk.
We're so excited to tell you about a really exciting opportunity that we have for a trip to Kenya to do something really quite out of the ordinary.
John and I got a chance to go last July, and it was an amazing trip for us. So we're excited to have you come and join us on this trip.
Yeah, on our last trip we went to Uganda, but we didn't have an agenda for Kenya. We just went to Kenya after our existing partnerships
It was kind of tagged on to us. We wanted to get to know some of the ministry leaders there in Kenya, but we had no idea what God had in store for us. And this is actually part of that surprise that we're so excited about.
Yeah. So basically we went to Kenya, reached out to some of the contacts that I had when I used to live there, and we met two pastors that are part of the Maasai tribe, and they took us out to a really remote village, and we had a church service there, and they're lacking water, to put it simply.
Yeah.
Remember
we met Daniel. He was dressed like us. In fact, he had a coat on, which we didn't have a coat on. Wasn't wearing a tie, but he looked like an American businessman. And then we saw him in his own setting. And you want to tell them what the Maasai people are like?
Oh, they're awesome. Yeah, they're basically living off of the land. Herdsmen, cattle, sheep, and just living in little mud huts way out in the African wilderness. A lot like the Old Testament in the Bible. So
very much so.
It was just an awesome experience to go out and basically do church with them. We were the first Americans to ever stop at this village.
Yeah.
It's right on the way to Amboseli National Park. There's a dusty road where all the safari vans are driving out there every day, but not once had any van or any tourist ever stopped at this village.
Yeah. I know we had talked, that was by far one of the most amazing Sunday mornings I've had in church, to be there with the Maasai people and to meet Pastor Daniel in his setting, and then even more so to meet Pastor Simon, the pastor of this church. And It was an amazing morning to watch and to worship and to be a part of their experience. But then what was most, I think, impressive to us was their need for water, and to go with them and to pray on the spot where they hope to one day have water. And now to be able to be a chance to be kind of an agent for Jesus in this is just an incredible privilege that we have.
Absolutely. And the cool thing is we have these two pastors, Pastor Daniel and Pastor Simon, that pastor churches in their local areas, and they're reaching out to this community, and they planted a church there, and so we're kind of coming alongside them, and they live there, so that after we leave and come back, they will stay there to keep the work going.
So I'd like to encourage you really to be kind of selfish. This is a trip you really don't want to miss. This changed my view of Jesus, and I think your being there will just be an incredible time for you too.
Yeah. So obviously the main goal of our trip is to drill while we're there, and hopefully strike water. But we'll have all kinds of other opportunities to minister to schools and the people in the surrounding areas and everything too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of exciting opportunities, and then of course we'll have some fun while we're there too.
Maybe you should real quickly just share, because Americans just don't go in and drill wells and just have it happen naturally, but there have been a lot of things that have set in motion to show us that this is something we're supposed to do. Do you want to share about some of those things that have happened over the last couple of months?
Yeah, exactly. Well, since we came back from our last trip, Pastor Daniel has already gone to the local government offices and secured a permit. We've been in touch with a local drilling company. They've given us a quote, and they've gone out and they haven't done the actual geo-survey of that specific site, but they've drilled in that area many times before. So in the next couple of weeks, they're going to go out and do an actual geo-survey to know exactly where to drill. And it's
how
an exciting thing.
It's going to change that community, so we're excited about it.
Yeah.
So John, when are we going?
Well, the dates that we have set aside right now are July 17th to the 27th.
So about a 10-day trip.
10 days, we'll be in Kenya for 8 of those days. So those are the dates.
Excellent. And what's the approximate cost for this?
We don't know the exact cost yet. We're basically still getting the quotes and everything, but I'm ballparking about $3,200 for everything. Airfare, food, meals.
Great.
And drilling a well.
Yeah, so that will cover
So,
the well drilling. Great.
Yeah. One of the cool things is we're actually getting a discounted rate from the lodges because of what we're doing. Basically, the tour operator that's a good friend of mine from when I lived in Kenya has reached out to the lodges and said, kind of told them what we're going to be doing, and they're discounting our rate so that we're basically going on safari, but doing some good while we're there. So
Excellent. So if I want to go, how do I let you know that I want to go, and is there a financial stuff up front to make sure that I'm going?
right. Well, we need firm commitments so that we know the size of the group by the end of December this year, 2013. So then we'll know exactly what the cost is. Obviously, if it's a bigger group, it'll be a little bit less because we share some of those costs with the group. So
So it might be a great Christmas present.
yeah, there you go. Yeah. Children, some people have asked about bringing kids, and I would say, I mean, you've been there, but I would say
Yes.
kids above the age of probably 8
Yeah, I think so.
would be really comfortable. I mean,
Yeah, I think especially teenagers would be a great trip. Allow them
Absolutely.
to see something bigger than just North County, San Diego. To see that God is a God who works with all kinds of people with different languages, and just an amazing life experience.
yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to take my kids. They're just not quite old enough yet. They're still in car seats.
I have a teenager. I'm hoping to bring her along.
Awesome. Yeah. And kids at the lodges, 12 and under, are significantly less. Like, I think they might even be free. So basically, if they're 12 or under, they won't be paying full price at all.
Just basically airfare then.
Right. Yeah.
So, John, we're really excited about this July event. Going to be amazing. But I know that people watching this hear the number $3,200, and that's just a daunting number. Any ideas about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it does sound daunting at first, but one of the things that I like to do is break it down by day, and by day I mean, we leave July 17th, and if you do the math, back to, well, we're in November now, but
Sure.
like October when we first started talking about this, it's only $12 a day that you set aside, and basically it would pay for the entire thing. And the people that we're going to help walk 6 kilometers each way just to get water. And so, I like to think about it early on so that, come April, maybe we do set aside a little bit, as much as we can each day. We give up our coffee here and there, or make a little bit of sacrifices each day, and come April, we may be halfway there. And it's not quite so daunting.
I know you and I have seen this too. When there's something that we're supposed to be a part of, those finances seem to work themselves out. That God has a way of bringing the finances together for us to be there. So, just like to encourage you that if you feel like you're supposed to be a part of this, don't just automatically check out because of that high $3,200 price tag, because it'll work out.
Yeah, and there will be fundraising opportunities, not as a group, but you could send out letters to close friends and family, send them this video.
Sure.
And we might investigate some other options down the road, but like I said, for now, it's important to kind of start preparing for that so that it's not so daunting come April.
Yeah, since we're drilling a well, there may be people who say, I can't go, but I'd love to help support this project and go drill a well for us.
Yeah.
So, but John, I know you spent your high school years living in Kenya. I'd never been before. I didn't know what to expect, and I was amazed at just first of all, the beauty of Kenya, but more than that, just how comfortable I felt. I felt like I was kind of at home, and being among the people and in the village as well as in the city, just was so impressed with all of Kenya, and I'm just really excited to be back there.
Oh yeah, I mean, it really is, like, we think of Africa as being deep, dark Africa and this, like, way removed place, and I mean, you're connected. You've got wireless or cell phone coverage and internet and everything, so you're connected. But a lot of people have brought up questions of safety and is it safe and is it secure, and Kenya's a big place, and there are some bad areas. We're not going to go to those bad areas.
Right.
We'll fly into Nairobi, but we're not going to spend a lot of time in Nairobi. And even Nairobi is a big city. There's good areas and bad areas. We're going to stay away from all the touristy spots, the western areas that that might be considered targets. We'll stay clear of those, and
it's comfortable that we spent time already there, so we know the people we're working with, and we know their hospitality and the way they reach out to us and help us. And so just excited to be back there with really who've become our friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
So John, I know that as we've been talking and planning and praying about this trip, we have a real sense that God's putting this trip together, even putting the team members together.
Yep.
And we know that we're going to be a part of helping to drill a well for Pastor Simon's church and the Maasai people there. But there's something much more that's going to happen there for them as well for us on a spiritual level, don't you think?
Oh, definitely. I mean, when I've done trips like this in the past, I always think that I'm going to help, but they end up helping me way more than anything that I do on the trip. And
I know a great part of this trip, we already have a few people who've already committed, and we come from different backgrounds. We're not all from the same church, and what I know is going to happen is there'll be times in the evenings to pray together and to share together and to sense what God's been teaching us. And I just know that it's going to be, we work full-time, we live full-time here in North County, and that's a great place to live. But sometimes when we get out of our normal settings, and being in Africa is not going to be our normal setting.
Absolutely.
There's a way where I hear God in new ways and fresh ways, and so it's going to be a great experience, but more than that, it's going to be a spiritual encounter, and we're really excited to see that happen.
Absolutely. It's really cool that it's actually not just one church that's sending a group. And I mean, it is cool that churches do that, but this group is really kind of basically a bunch of people from a lot of different churches coming together. So I'm excited about that.
It's going to be a great trip.
The other cool thing about this trip is that we're not going to be working the entire time. There's a really big fun element of the trip, which is the safari portion. We're going to be actually staying in Amboseli National Park, which is just about 5 miles away from where the village is. So we'll be staying at Amboseli, right on the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro, with spectacular wildlife. So in the afternoons, we'll go on game drives, and after we'll be there for 5 nights, and after that, we're going to go to the world famous Masai Mara National Reserve. It's the northern end of the Serengeti. During the wildebeest migration, like 1 million animals migrating north. So, I mean, tell us, Scott, how
incredible
it was.
time. As we were on our little safari ride, and we were driving around a corner and just not knowing what to expect. I'd been at the Jungle Cruise in Disneyland, so I had no idea what to expect. But we came around the corner, and here was an elephant, maybe 30, 40 feet away from us, and I just had never experienced anything like that before, and just in awe of what God has made, and just the hugeness of the animal, and yet the gentleness of the animal, and just an incredible time, just in awe and taking lots of pictures and just being amazed at what was there. But then the last day we wanted to see the big lions, see the big cats, and we finally saw a lion. It was probably 50 feet away from us. And just the hush of the moment, and just the amazing thing, thinking, here's this wild animal just feet away from us, and it was so much bigger and grander than I even imagined.
Right. Yeah, there's obviously no guarantee on what we'll see, but I know that what we do see will probably exceed your expectations when you see them in the wild, roaming free. It's something that you can't even really describe. But
and you'll show slides to your friends. It won't be like a typical vacation slideshow. It'll be the real deal. So amazing times.
We didn't see cheetahs when you were there.
Not this time, no.
Next time
they were there, but we didn't see them.
I'm gonna make it a point. I'm gonna make it a point to show you one.
Great. Excellent.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, at the lodges, you're comfortable. There's pools. There'll be time for us to spend some time together and
sit around the fire and drink coffee and talk and relax and look at the stars, and in the black of the night with the stars that shine. Just an amazing time. It really is a trip unlike any others that I've been a part of.
Yeah.
So we'd love to have you join us July 17th to 27th. Going to Kenya and spending time with the Maasai people, drilling a well that's going to change a community and actually change it possibly for generations.
Absolutely.
And to come and be a part of our safari, to join us and to really experience God in a new and fresh way. We'd love to have you join us. And so if you want to join us, please let us know. We'd love to have firm commitments by December.
Yeah.
And remember, the approximate cost is $3,200. And if you really feel like God's calling you to go, if you want to be a part of our trip, you can send an email to John, and he'll follow up with you and put together. And we'd love to have you be a part of us. It's going to be a great trip. I can't wait to get back.
I can't wait either.